This is the time to stand up now. We can't carry on like this.
Hidden in the small print of a Facebook admission by the MP for Oldham West and Royton, Jim McMahon, is that he has been questioned over his role in the grooming gang inquiry. That's correct. Jim McMahon has finally been questioned. You make of that what you will.
Do not fear them. Do not fear any of them. On the 20th of November 2003, James Ignatius O'Rourke McMahon was elected councillor for the Failsworth East Ward of Oldham. Deeply ambitious, he ruthlessly rose to power, and by 2011 he was already leader of the council. In 2015, exploiting a Labour Party loophole, he became MP for Oldham West and Royton. If only the people of the town knew then what they now know. Do not fear them. Do not fear any of them. Arood Shah, Abdul Jabbar, Sean Fielding, Shisha Bars, Riaz Ahmed, Buying Sweets, Chohan and Mushtaq, Land on the Cheap, Dr. Carolyn Wilkins, Under Attack, Another No Comment, Shabir Ahmed, Glodic Baths, Debbie Kashmir, On the Run, Don't Dare Complain, They'll Call You a Racist Son. The cartels control the postal votes and the paedophiles run free. Welcome to Oldham, home to corrupt councillors and their childhood criminal friends. And in control of it all, at the top of the tree, Jim McMahon, the samosa nibbling MP. Still silent on how he used the funeral of the butchered soldier, Lee Rigby. Do not fear them. Do not fear any of them. Cartel Town. Grooming gangs. Postal vote fraud. Paedophile protectors. Still barefaced lies. Do not fear them. Do not fear any of them.
Good evening to the rabble. Another week, another Sunday, and some more unbelievable series of unbelievable revelations to go through today. It's going to be quick, and we're going to go, systematically work our way through as much of this as we can as possible. We have Moyeb joining us later. He's finally been cleared, and he can join us. So Moyeb will be with us in a little while. We'll get him up there. And he will help me make sense of some of this. First of all, yes, you've heard that right. In a Facebook exchange that many of us are blocked from. So whilst the MP for Oldham West and Royton wants to attack me, a member of the public, by resorting to his Facebook account, he has blocked me from being able to respond or even view what he says. But in his exchanges where many of you were blocked from, in his exchanges, he has admitted that he has been questioned. Of course, he didn't put it in these words, but that's what it means, and I'll get to it later. He has admitted he has been questioned by Andy Burnham's grooming gang inquiry. And not only has he been questioned, he's still refusing to answer any questions to the public in Oldham as to his role in the use of Lee Rigby's funeral to hide news of grooming gangs. Remember, when all of this started, the Labour Party mobilised and they went after me. They tried to censor me. They tried to have me arrested. And here we are now. A Labour Party mayor's team of investigators has questioned an MP over his role. Ordinarily, this would make the news. But in this town, we know who controls the news. A very, very good evening. I can see lots of names popping up on the side. Yes, Paul, Sarah, hi. Is a Dewsbury spy tuning in? Dougie, I have no idea if that clown is tuning in. He is more than welcome to tune in. He's more than welcome to come to Oldham. I will personally show him around my town. Nah, don't think so. Not at all. Okay, some quick updates. Housekeeping. First of all, please share the broadcast. Press share and see how many people can get it to. If you can, please like the page, follow the page, do all of those things in your AC. It'll take you 2 seconds. I've got hundreds of you have invites in your inboxes in Facebook. Please click on the like. I need to get my figures up. Something to do with the analytics. I'm pretending I'm using a word I don't even understand, so I'll leave it at that. But please, if you can, share the page, like the page, share this post, follow us on the YouTube if you're watching us on YouTube, and of course, if you can, sign up as a patron. We're doing, we slowly, small steps, but we get in there. But please, if you can. Okay, so let's make sense of what's gone on. And I'll put this screen up. Let's make sense of this. We'll get to him in a bit. What a donkey! What an absolute donkey! If you can't recognise it, is that a good like? Of course, these aren't. This is not. It is beyond my means and my abilities to be able to produce quality such as this. But I think this is one of the Ali Akbar specials. So thank you, Ali Akbar. It arrived in my inbox earlier. Sale or return. Sale or return. Oh my. Okay, let's start. JMSF. Okay, we all saw it. We all saw, the transmission I put out in the middle of this week. And just before that, Sean Fielding was putting the pressure on all the other local authorities, because his future as chief underpant licker for Andy Burnham was at stake. Isn't that right, Sean? The Greater Manchester Structural Framework had to be passed. It had to be passed. Our green belt had to be destroyed for the future political careers of Sean and his mates. And what happened? Stockport told them where to go. And after Stockport told them where to go, Sean Fielding, in that emergency and extraordinary council meeting that he called himself, shamefully tail between his legs, had to withdraw the motion to sell out our green belt. And in it somewhere were the words, "We need to do what's best for Oldham." That's what all of us have been asking for from the beginning. Just do what's best for Oldham. No, Sean. You also withdrew it because if a vote got voted down, that would be the end of it. So all of you need to know, this is not over. Sean Fielding and his Labour Party minions are secretly plotting how to bring this back. How to continue to sell out the green belt in our town. Yes. And then, of course, and I've seen the stuff to do with Derbyshire, and I'll get to that later. We'll have some fun with that later. But Sean Fielding can only operate in this town if he works hand in glove with this woman, Dr. Carolyn Wilkins, the Chief Executive of Oldham Council, who is refusing to respond to my emails, by the way. And I keep getting emails back from an unnamed source named Legal Services. These cowards, now cornered, are refusing to write back in their own names. Isn't that right, Paul Entwistle? Instead, we're getting emails back that says Legal Services. Well, check this out for Legal Services. You are about to see how crooked this town is. There has been complaints regarding the code of conduct regarding Sean Fielding. And if you complete a complicated form, it goes to the subcommittee. The Councillor's Standard Subcommittee. They love making reference to it. Sean's made reference to it. BASHFORTH's made reference to it. They all have. It's like, if you don't like what I'm doing, go to the subcommittee. The subcommittee have not only refused to investigate Sean Fielding, they're refusing to say why they've refused to investigate Sean Fielding. Yeah, open and transparent council. Not only have they refused to investigate him, they've refused to say why. And remember, these are the three people who sit on the subcommittee advised by Dr. Carolyn Wilkins and the Borough Solicitor Paul Entwistle. Pam Brine, Conservative, Saddleworth North. Diane Williamson, Liberal Democrat, Crompton. And the third one, which I didn't know last week, but we've managed to get hold of. Are you ready, people? Ghazala Kusar. Or Kusar, however she wants to, or the she, her stuff, someone asked me. It's to do with this transgender stuff or whatever. I don't get it. But it's apparently the latest fake liberal thing to do. There you go. She's apparently the commercial associate at Addleshaw Goddard, which is a law firm, I think, and an independent person for the Standards Committee at Oldham Council. So this is her. The independent person on the Standards Subcommittee used to be a bloody intern at Oldham Council. Interned at Oldham Council. And it gets worse. This lady, direct links in Glodick. Independent, my arse. Independent. Couldn't get past the subcommittee, these people. And you know what makes it worse? What makes it worse for these people? And I'm going to put his photograph up, Paul Entwistle, because he's the one that advises them. You know what makes it worse? The Council Standards Committee have refused to investigate the leader of the council for harassment and malicious communication, where the evidence was compelling. The series of emails is indisputable. But there's a problem, because we now show how corrupt Oldham Council is, how bent Paul Entwistle is and Carolyn Wilkins and these three that I've just shared. Because following the launch of the petition calling for the arrest of Sean Fielding, the police have confirmed that they are investigating. Statements have been taken, and it seems that a dossier of evidence is being presented to the CPS. Sean Fielding will be questioned, ladies and gentlemen. The police will now have to question Sean Fielding, the leader of Oldham Council, for criminal offences. Well done to every one of you that signed that petition, and well done to every one of you that refused to accept that there is one law for them and one law for the rest of us. Sean Fielding is currently being investigated by Greater Manchester Police. And yet, the Council Standard Committee see nothing to worry about. Bent. Entwistle, you are bent. The Council Standards Committee. No, Dougie, it's not that they won't investigate it because they're, the term you referred to. The reason why they won't investigate it is because they're all as bent as each other, mate. They've all got shit on each other, haven't they? They've got crap on each other. This council is institutionally corrupt. It's institutionally crooked. It's not just one person. It's right from the top all the way to the bottom. It's rotten. Yeah. So, he is being investigated. He will be questioned. Now, what I want him to be is I want him to be questioned like anyone else would be questioned. They turn up to his house and arrest him. Now, I'm no, Kaiser's off his head at the moment, if anyone's looked at what he's posting and the amount of bum licking he's doing with McMahon and Fielding. But if you look through Kaiser's post, you will see how horrified he was that he was arrested at his house in front of his daughter and led away into a police van to be questioned because of what he posted on Facebook. Well, this man, Sean Fielding, has harassed multiple individuals, written to the employers, falsified information, all proven. The police can't be nice to him. The police have got to treat him like everyone else. They've got to turn up to his house or his place of work and arrest him. Put him in the back of a van, take him to the police station and question him. That's what's got to happen. I see Warren Bates is listening. Warren, what's up with you, mate? I see you be, I follow all the Facebook stuff. And I'm trying to make sense of what's going on in your head. I sometimes think you think it's a game, Warren. But honestly, this isn't a game. This really isn't a game. Pick a side, Warren. Because that's what it's boiled down to. Let me just turn this off. And I can start putting some posts up. Is that what we're up to now, Paul? Over 830. That petition will get to over 1,000, Paul. You'll see. That petition will probably get to 1,000. 1,000 people from the town calling for the arrest of its leader. Bare-faced lies. And look, I'll put this back up. Look at this. We are unable to provide a copy of the report as standards reports are deemed to be exempt from publication by virtue of paragraph bull, and more bull. Yours sincerely, Legal Services. Entwistle, Bentwistle, doesn't even have the courage to sign it. How much do we think we pay him? The last I looked, he was well on the other side of 100,000. Karen, I completely agree with you. This council and solicitors all need to be investigated. This council is institutionally corrupt. It isn't just with one person, it is institutionally corrupt. Pam, how are you going to explain to people in Saddleworth North that you refuse to investigate a leader of the council that the police have deemed suitable to be investigated? Are you as bent as the others, Pam? It looks that way to me. I'm pretty sure this woman's as bent as the others. She's a Lib Dem. Why don't you tell us about Rod Blythe, Diane? When did you know? Are you going to hide as well? You should look at her on find her on Twitter and her LinkedIn profile. Links in Pakistan, associates in Glodic, independent my arse. Independent my arse. Mayup, give me a call, Mayup, and let's get you on because I want you on with this Muppet when I go through this Muppet. He is, without doubt, one of the most powerful men in this country. Whether we like it or not, the MP for this town is on the shadow cabinet. He's one of the most powerful men in this country. And yet, earlier on this week, Jim McMOSQUE, the samosa nibbling MP, decided he would have another pop at me. Constituency update. People need to understand the context of this constituency update. There was no update. He just repeated everything from before and before and before. Now he knows I have been cleared repeatedly. He knows that. He knows what the law is. But he had to come and attack me. And the reason he had to come and attack me is... Are you ready? The Labour Party met secretly earlier on this week. And when they met secretly earlier on this week, they all agreed to back Sean Fielding to protect the leader of Oldham Council. Because it, as Paul said, is completely unprecedented that the leader of Oldham Council... How you doing, Moab?
What's about yourself?
Yeah, all good, Moab. So it's completely unprecedented, Moab, for a leader of the council, for the public to call for the arrest and launch a petition. Completely uncalled for. And Sean and Jim McMahon comes out and he goes through this old school nonsense again because he can't help himself. You know, this is a man who destabilized the schools. I think McMahon is a crook. I think, you know, he didn't like it, apparently to do with me referring to him as having dodgy deals or dodgy landlords. Everyone who was involved in that school when we were fighting for to open that school knew that the council's issue with that was they had some dodgy land deal arranged with some developer at the time. They'd even valued it, Moab. They'd even valued how much it was worth for their council tax.
It was some ridiculous sum. I think somewhere in the region of, I'm trying to think off the top of my head, you just put me on the spot now. I think it was somewhere near between 11 to 17 million pounds it was, that land was worth. But I stand to be corrected, but it was a phenomenal sum of money.
Yeah. Anyway, this is the thing, Moab. Well, one of the many things. First of all, how the mighty have fallen. There was a time when national newspapers was do his bidding on this issue. When that viper, when that witch, the red-haired Charlton Burnham's witch, Jennifer Williams, would dance to his tune. Not one of them will publish any of his nonsense again, Maya, because they've worked out what's going on. Yeah, and they've seen it because they followed through the evidence. They've seen it, and now he's resorted to having to write it on Facebook and then block members of the public.
I'm absolutely gobsmacked of the actions of Jim McMahon this week. I mean, this is the man, the ever-powerful Mr. Oldham, controls the council, controls all his MP mates.
I can see you, man. Go on.
I don't know if you can see. Oh, can you see me?
Yeah, we can all see. You're on full. Go on, carry on. You don't touch your screen, just talk.
Control all his MP mates, and for someone who used to dance to every single local, even international media on various issues, not a single person would run with his story, and he resorts to his own Facebook page. But then the worst bit is, he's on his own Facebook page, but then he blocks people. So hang on a minute. If you're going to slag me off, you're going to slag A, B, C, and D, all these people off. You've got to give them an opportunity to come back. But no, they're blocked. One thing I did see, Raj, which I thought was, I know you're going to go and touch on probably later on, was on Friday night you had a bit of a to and fro with Steve Bashford.
Oh, no, we'll talk about that. We'll talk about that in a bit.
Yeah, no, I know. All I want to say is the fact that you gave him an opportunity and you didn't delete his comments.
I didn't delete his comments. I didn't delete his comments.
That's the important bit. But whereas Sean and Jim, all they're interested in is throwing slander, throwing comments here, there, and everywhere, but not being able, giving the people the opportunity to refer back. One thing I think it's worthwhile saying to people, of all the accusations that Jim has thrown at yourself, me, and other people, I'm confident Jim has leaked various reports to the public, or to shall we say, to friendly newspapers. But what he fails to do is leak anything to the papers which doesn't suit his narrative. And if you want me to explain a bit more, let me just go on a bit more. Jim constantly refers to the government reports and various other bits and bats. What he doesn't say is the government report that totally exonerated the actions taken by the school. That was prior to me become chair of governors. He is very selective with what he releases. He is very selective with what he tells his followers. And it reminds me of the situation you had with Debbie Abrams, Debbie Kashmir. Again, go to the police.
She's a criminal. She should be. Sorry, every time anyone mentions her, I say the same, because she can't do anything. She should be arrested by the police for fabricating evidence.
Yeah, for constantly talking about selective information. The fact is, all these years later, and every single bit of government having had a finger in every single pie, Jim has gone to, you name any government department, and he's been there. He's tried his best, and we are still here, standing tall. Purely
you know what the problem is, man?
He refuses to share the government report with his cohorts and his friends and the media, which exonerates us. But he's not interested in that, is he? He's just interested in his narrative.
Right from the beginning, he was mudslinging. But let's put this to one side. You know what his biggest problem is? His biggest problem is with us is, I'll put myself up on the screen map. His biggest problem is that he cannot control us. We cannot be controlled by his cartels, right? So here you have two Asian lads, grew up in the ghetto, who cannot be controlled by the OBA cartel, cannot be controlled by the Glodic cartel. We're not crooks. You're a senior civil servant. I've had the Queen put a medal on my chest. We are not crooks, and we cannot be controlled by the crooks that run our town. And Jim McMahon is reliant on the block vote from these crooks to stay in power. And that's what his problem is, because we doing this, what we are doing, sends out a signal to every young person in our town from our communities that we can defy the cartels and we can beat corrupt politicians. And it destabilizes their control on this town.
Yeah. The biggest sense of satisfaction, if I can say that I've got over the past year or so, via your show, via your programs, Raj, and your shows, whatever you want to call them, the number of other people who've come forward and have now got a voice to stand up against these tyrants. The number of people that you have had on your programs over the last year, people who have been wronged by this council, people who have been wronged by the Labour administration in Oldham, and they felt like they had nowhere to go, no one to turn to, and people felt lonely. And this is what they've been doing with people all along. They've been trying to, as Jim put it in a secret meeting to some of his henchmen about people like me and Raj, he was going to see us off. Well, the polite word, he was going to kill us off. Was his exact words to his secret henchmen. Obviously, news came back to us. I mean, the fact is, we are still here. Why? Because to this day, we are honest people, and we will fight for the truth. As long as we stay on that path, Jim and his cohorts have got nothing they can do to us, because we do not fear them.
And you know, Marcus has just put up this thing. Marcus, get the report shared yourself, chaps. It will prevent certain people saying you are dodgy. Marcus, the government have published the reports. Yeah. Failed to find I'd done anything wrong. Now, unless I live in a world or a country that says I've got to prove my innocence, yeah, I am innocent until proven guilty, and I've been proven innocent repeatedly. And if you go on my Medium page, and most people can find my Medium page, you will find a post I put up there over a year ago with extracts from the government report. These people are filthy, they are scumbags, and they are the ones who have destroyed this town. Now, here's Jim McMahon responded to a friend of mine. I didn't realise until I just saw it, put this up now on my web. Philip Mellor. Now, Phil and I know each other. And Phil's asked him a question. And here, look at this. Look at his clever... That will come out in the review that's taking place as I am contributing to it. Jim McMahon, you scumbag. How are you contributing to a review? You cannot contribute to a review. The review decides who it questions and when and how. That means you are being questioned, aren't you, Jim? You are being questioned by Burnham's team. What?
Yep, absolutely. Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
Jim's a very clever politician. He does like to twist words into his favour. The bottom line is, he is being questioned. And the fact is, Jim seems to be very confident, and what he seems to have done is turning the tap on in terms of telling people already in advance, don't worry guys, I'll be coming out with this quite clean. Well, what I will say to people is, look at the email trail back from 2013 and make your own minds up.
I'll put the next slide up. You like this next one? You ready? Ready for this? You'll laugh. You'll absolutely laugh your head off, right? This response to Daniel. Remember, he's deleted most of the responses, criticise him.
Yep.
And this is in reference to the Lee Rigby email reference. Daniel, that is part of an ongoing review, which is why I'm reserving comment. You scumbag, McMahon. 2013 that dates back to reserving comment. Absolute scrote. Deputy, you know what is it?
2013, 14,
2013,
15, 16,
yeah.
17, 18,
Yeah.
19, 20. You're coming up to 21, mate. Any more years you want to wait? You want to reserve your judgment?
The only reason he's not saying anything, Moab, is because he's got nothing to say. He hid, him, his council, all of them at the time were involved in hiding news of grooming gangs operating out of shisha bars, luring our children, raping our children, selling our children. And they reckoned that if the news got to parents, that somehow the far right would get hold of it. Listen, my town is not racist. You keep saying this. They keep saying this. My town is not racist. And what makes it worse, Maya? What makes it absolutely worse here, right? What makes this even worse is that this man is a coward. He doesn't even have the strength of conviction to say, this is why I kept this news hidden. 2013 and 2013, and I am reserving comment.
Like I said, I'm soon going to run out of fingers on my hands to count the number of years that have gone by, and he hasn't actually commented on that single email. I mean, it just beggars belief. He's living in cloud cuckoo land. The thing is, he wants to be the prime minister.
He does want to be the prime minister. He wants to be the prime minister,
and he wants to keep himself clean. That's fine. Do what you want to do. No. In this country, we don't stop people from having ambition and people from moving on. But make sure you don't tread on everybody as you get on the way up, and make sure you answer the questions, answer your constituents. I'm your constituent, and I'm asking you, Jim McMahon, can you openly answer all the questions that have been put forward to you with regards to this particular email?
And let's put this email to one side for a second, yeah? Let's put it to one side. We know what's going on here, Moab. He's been exposed. And not just him.
Yep.
Every Labour Party politician that relies on a cartel-controlled block vote, yeah, across the country has now been exposed, yeah? And they don't like that. Cartel town.
Absolutely.
And this is the bit, and this is what I mean by a cartel town. Just give me 1 second. Let me put one thing up, right? Jim McMahon, many of you have contacted me, and Jim McMahon had deleted your posts where you've been asking questions or defending me. He just deleted them on his Facebook page, right? The evidence is overwhelming. He systematically deleted posts he did not like. Yeah, he left this one up. Kasim Lenny, I have reported to the counter-terrorism office. Kasim Lenny, I have reported to the police. He made reference to me as a gay Christian convert in a bid to try and have me killed by Islamists. Here is Kasim Lenny on Jim McMahon's page threatening me again. I will dance on his proverbial grave. Hope justice catches up with the scumbag. And Jim McMahon left that up on his page. Here is Jim McMahon in bed with Islamists. In bed with Islamists. Jim McMahon, you are in bed with Islamists. Because Kasim Lenny is an Islamist.
It's absolutely shocking. It's absolutely shocking. To Jim, the ordinary folk of this town don't matter. Unless you are a cartel supporter, unless you carry favour with a large section of the voters in your area, you're nobody. He's not interested in singular people. He's not interested in people who really need help. He's not interested in people who need support, especially during this difficult period. All he's interested in is climbing the ladder and going further and further up the tree. Doesn't matter who he treads on, who he stamps on, all the way up. And he has his foot soldiers. But what clearly became apparent this week is the fact that, and Jim said it in this private meeting that they had with the Labour cronies, that they were going to fully support Sean Fielding, and he was writing a further report on his Facebook page to take the heat off Sean. Well, let me tell you, the heat has just been turned up a further notch.
Moyab, just hold on a second. I didn't know Phil was tuning in. So hiya, Phil. Phil's just posted, right? Because I put the message up from Phil, the exchange Phil had, yeah? And we talked about cartels and gangsters.
Yeah.
Jim McMahon basically fobbed me off when I asked him a testing question, and then someone called Irish Immy replied to me with a report written by Neil Wilby about how individuals are trying to anger the white voters by peddling lies. Hold on. So we're clear. So everyone is clear. Jim McMahon posts, and on his page, he allows to keep up on his page a post by Dale Cregan's getaway driver, the getaway driver of an Oldham cop killer. And not just that, Moyab. So we can show the cartel links, and we didn't do this, remember? I had no say in this. This is Jim McMahon's own Facebook page, yeah? These are the cartel links that they have, and the cartel links, I've called on Keir Starmer to investigate Jim McMahon and his links to organised crime. I have called for that. I have called for the police to investigate Jim McMahon and his links to organised crime, because his links to organised crime is repetitive, and at some point it is not coincidence. Here, Moab, check this out. First of all, this guy, right? Here is a younger looking Jim. Small Business Saturday. This guy is this guy. Killed somebody. Didn't you, lad? And then when I exposed it, he started sending me friend messages and deleted them, so he knew he was shadow following me. I don't scare him. This lad, why is the then leader, now MP, stood next to this guy? Cllr. Why did Jim McMahon give Irish Imi a reference on parliamentary letterhead, and then the guy actually got recalled to prison because he's a drug dealer at the time? He was found with mobile phones. Why? You can't. You can't. You know, his links to criminal cartels are there in black and white. Irish Imi. Can you imagine? Can you imagine a far right Nazi writing in defence on your thread underneath if you're an MP, and what would happen? Well, I can actually with the Labour Party. If it's an anti-Semite, they'll probably like it and share it. You lost for words, Moab?
I'm gobsmacked.
Yeah.
What can I say? Words fail me when I talk about Jim McMOSQUE, McMahon. The man is just a most nibbling MP.
You can't say it's not you know, it's not quantifiable.
Words fail me. Words just fail me. You know, it's very few times when I'm like this stuck for words, but words just fail me with this fella. It's just beyond belief. It's beyond belief. And this is the guy that's representing us in Parliament. You know, the mother of all parliaments. You know, I'm gobsmacked.
I mean, and I didn't know that.
Beyond
I mean, Phil will tell you. Sorry, Phil, if you're still there, please post again. Phil and I have not spoken in some time. We say hello to each other in passing. We pass at each other and so forth. I had no idea that Irish Imi had responded on, in that thread. Yeah, and this is the thread where Jim McMahon blocks Oldhamers from posting on, removed Oldhamers' comments, left up an Islamist support of, continuing support of my murder, and then, bang, 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 along comes Dale Cregan's getaway driver.
Shocking.
Right, and it gets worse. You ready? Take a deep breath, Mo. Sorry, I'm drinking my coffee here, but you
right.
Have you got time? Do you want to do this bit? You want to stay on?
Well, it's your show, mate.
All right, you stay. You can stay on if you want. Let me put this up and. Okay, I'm gonna put you on the screen next to it, Mike. Yeah, rather than people don't need to see me; they see my face every week. One of my daughter's friends, only about 7, said, "My daddy was watching you on the computer," and at that point I thought, I'm not sure what my daughter will think of me when she gets older, but yeah, let's carry on. Okay. This story goes back to 2007. I hope everybody's sat comfortably because I like being the storyteller that I am. Yeah, and Moya, you've got some expertise in this world, so I might call on your technical expertise as well as your insights into the town on this matter. In the early 2000s, and it actually carried on until a couple of years ago. It's still ongoing now. There's something called carousel fraud, VAT fraud, carousel fraud, and the Pakistanis were very proficient in carousel fraud, and a number of gangs from Oldham were arrested, and a number of them managed to escape. And a couple of gangsters from Werneth managed to escape. And like many of the gangsters who did this carousel fraud, and they stole what? Hundreds of millions, thousands of millions from the Exchequer, Mayab, these carousel fraud things? Yeah?
No, I think it was hundreds and hundreds of millions.
Yeah, and basically it's VAT fraud, isn't it?
I've seen.
Yeah, do you want to explain it very quickly, what carousel fraud is? Because you'll be able to explain it better than me.
It essentially happened with mobile phones, where people were buying mobile phones, and a long story short, buying them from Europe, and the paper trail, to put it in a short way, it goes from one place to the next, and everybody keeps claiming their VAT back. In a very simple term, because it's no use confusing people. The simple thing is, you buy the goods, or you may not have bought the goods, but you're claiming the VAT back, essentially. And then you keep doing it. You're having multiple companies all across the chain. And eventually, it's the same goods that keep going round and round in a circle.
So what they're doing is repeatedly claiming VAT back from the government, meaning to pay the VAT back, and the companies disappear and they run off with millions. Yep.
Yep. Essentially, yes.
Yeah, so that's carousel fraud, and it goes round and round. So the same goods go round and round and round, and VAT keeps getting claimed, and VAT keeps getting claimed, and then they run away with millions. A couple of Werneth gangsters left. A couple of gangsters from Werneth left and ran away with millions and went to Dubai. And these Werneth gangsters have been set up in Dubai now for over 10 years. What these gangsters do, so we're clear, Maya, what these gangsters also do whilst they're in Dubai is that the gangsters from Oldham and elsewhere who need money laundering, they leave the country with suitcases of money and all the rest of it, go to Dubai and via Dubai. So they help launder the money whilst they're in Dubai and all the rest of it. It's hard to extradite from Dubai, particularly if you already own property and stuff. So it's very hard.
Dubai's rules are quite strict in terms of extraditions.
Yeah. So, they're kind of set up there for life, and they can't come back. But if they step back into this country, they'll be arrested. Yeah, they'll be arrested on entry. This is how serious these gangsters are. What if I was to share with you about one of my informants, and these are one of my most trusted informants, who first of all told me all about Irish Image reference from Jim McMahon's parliamentary letter-headed paper, that a senior Oldham politician during lockdown went to Dubai to hang out and party with these convicted criminals. And that can be validated by a simple passport check of a Dubai stamp. A senior politician of this town went to party in Dubai with convicted criminals.
What can I say? What can I say? I'm just gobsmacked. Today's show has just taken the breath out of me. It's
Keir Starmer needs to shut down the Labour Party in Oldham. Jim McMahon needs to be suspended. Every Labour Party politician in Oldham needs to be suspended, and an investigation take place into the links with organised crime. That is my position, Mayab.
Yeah. The issues of lockdown is quite simple in Oldham. We've seen what Angela Rayner was doing with Sean Fielding and all the rest of the rigmarole. A quick look through social media today, and Sean's chilling out in Derbyshire on a 45-minute ride.
I've got some of that later, mate. You might as well stay for that comedy. I've got some of that later, but
so it's not that comedy going. So anything to do with lockdown. So the fact that are you saying? So let me get this straight. So are you saying a Labour Party politician,
a senior one at that,
has actually
with links
to Dubai,
with direct links to Parliament?
And you've got the evidence, or you've got the.
Well, I think the question is being asked. I am asking. I mean, I trust my source, and the question is being asked.
And I must say, I'm starting to sweat, purely because I'm thinking it's just so shocking. It's just unbelievable. I'm thinking. I mean, I'm putting out there. You've asked me to come out on the show to answer some questions, and now you're throwing these grenades. Literally.
I'm being straightforward here, right? Look, Ken, sorry, I'm just taking you off my so I can put my picture up for a second. Yeah, just give me 1 second, right?
Yeah.
So my point is really simple. Throughout all of this, I have been revealing information to the people of my town that they can they can say there's no evidence and it's Jackanory and all that, but repeatedly everything I have revealed has turned out to be true. Rod Blythe, Shabir Ahmed, all of it, yeah. The Glodic bath sale, the dodgy funding of mosques, the paedophile at the Oldham Central, the child, what was he? the sex offender, convicted sex offender at the Central Mosque. Yeah, everything I have revealed has turned out to be true. And now what I am revealing is a senior Oldham Party politician with direct links to Parliament has been partying in Dubai with convicted criminals from this town who, if they step foot back in this town, back in this country, will be immediately arrested at the border because of their role in carousel fraud, VAT fraud for millions.
Let me take a calculated guess then. So from what you've said.
That's right, yeah, I got an agenda. And it's your money.
Sorry, my bad, I'm just pressing buttons. Gone.
Yeah, there's a direct link to Parliament. So there's the 3 MPs. There's Jim McMahon, Angela Rayner, and Debbie Abrams. Direct link to Parliament. In terms of politicians, there's a number of them that
if I was Debbie Cashmere, if I was Debbie
well.
Cashmere, if I was Debbie Cashmere, if I was Granny Rayner and or Jim McMahon, I would be immediately checking with my staff to see if they have been to Dubai this year.
Got it. That's it. I've got it. Is it Sister Shah? Because she works for Jim McMahon. She's got a direct link to various groups and individuals in this borough.
I think, I'm asking the question. I'm not going to name a name right now, Maya, because I want them to sweat. Right. I want them to go and check with their staff. But I'm telling you right now that I'm telling you right now, Mayab, my number one source, who has never failed me, has come to me this week, and I had to park the car and have a and do all of that. I'm like, you what? He goes, Roger, lockdown 1, not lockdown 2, lockdown 1.
Well,
a senior...
Simple, Raj, stop. Simple. All you need to do, I think it's simple it is, I know Labour Party politicians watch this programme. You're all watching now. Right? Each and every single one of you. You need to go back, send a message to your 3 MPs, and let's get to the bottom of this, because clearly it's either true or it's not. And if it is, I'm trying to think the people who work. There's a number of Labour councillors who actually work for the MPs in this town as well. So I'm just trying to triangulate in terms of where it could be.
Well, my Lynn's just posted.
Incentive.
Lynn's has posted. Can we ask if it's male or female? Lynn, that's as far as I'm going to say now. I know Lynn. I know exactly who it is, Lynn. And I've had it checked with my sources, with the cartels, and my sources with these gangsters, because these gangsters that they grew up at the same time as I did. You know, they're very sophisticated, and they money launder. They sit in Dubai and they money launder because they've gone there with their millions. They can't come back, so they've got a lavish lifestyle out there, and all the gangsters go out to see them. But I was surprised to hear that a senior Oldham politician went to party with gangsters from our town in Dubai.
Right, I think I'll take a break and go and lie down.
You stay there, Mike. You stay there, Mike. I'm going to take you off the video, Maya, but I'm going to leave you on so you can commentate with me. Yeah.
I'm going to put the grilling today, but you know what I mean. It's one of the things you're throwing at me. You know, these grenades.
I'm going to put.
This is like a nuclear one. This one. Hang on. It's got all nuclear.
Paul's asking, which member of Oldham Council has been to... Paul, I'll even narrow it down. Lockdown 1, Paul. Not second lockdown. Lockdown 1.
Right.
Lockdown 1. Okay.
You're not going to give us a little a word puzzle or something to try and figure it out?
No, I think that's enough.
What I suggest, and this is a serious point, Raj, what I suggest is a serious point. Every single person who is watching this programme
and they all watch it, don't they?
Should contact their local councillor. All the Labour Party are watching should contact their Labour councillor and just ask them, did you go to Dubai in lockdown 1? It can be narrowed very easily. And is this true?
Yeah. But this is a cartel-run town. It's a town run by gangsters. And Jim
hang on a minute.
And his mates...
Raj, hang on a minute. So 1 minute, we're skint. We're going begging in hand to Parliament, asking for some money. The next minute, we're so rich, we're buying a shopping centre. The next minute, we're so poor, we've got to cut these services for all the poor people, the vulnerable, the disabled, you name it, cut all those. And then the next minute, we're now thinking of increasing the council tax. And all this is going on at the same time. Certain individuals or an individual is
a senior
during
Oldham
lockdown
politician is partying in Dubai with gangsters.
Partying in Dubai in lockdown 1
with gangsters.
Right. I'm just reading some of the comments on the right of the thread.
Yeah, so you can see it. I mean, I've done it this way so you can see it, what's going on as well. Yeah.
No, I'm seeing it on my laptop.
Did you read?
Right.
Right. Okay. Let me move on. Yeah. Let me just relax my shoulders.
Mark Birchall probably wanted some money for the next election bribes. Oh dear. No.
Let me move on to the next
dates.
bit.
Don't throw any more grenades at me today. I thought I was getting an easy ride.
No, here we go. Let me just let me try and do that. Take you off, Maya, unfortunately, but we can talk. Neither of us are on, but we can talk while this plays through. Okay. Now this numpty, right? Steve Bashforth thinks I went after him because he posted something about he joined in with Jim McMahon on the school stuff. No, Steve, you're a numpty as well. You're also full of yourselves, and let's be honest, Steve. There's plenty of you to be full of. The problem with you, and that's him and his wife. So it's a husband and wife Labour Party councillor team, yeah, from Royton South, right? The reason I posted what I did, Steve, at the time I did, was because it was the right time to post it after you lot had been shown up in your extraordinary council meeting to do with some dodgy planning where you were going to vote through the destruction of our greenbelt. I thought now is the time, whilst the eyes of my town are drawn to this, for me to raise who you are and what you did. Steve Bashforth and his wife, councillors. Now what I did was I put out there something very simple. Steve Bashforth has been reported for taking bribes. Steve Bashforth, first of all, responding with this. I have nothing to hide. I have never taken or even been offered a bribe. Neither have I ever been accused of taking one. Blah, 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 blah. Steve Bashforth then deleted this comment, Moyab. After posting it, someone must have told him, what about this time? What about that time? And he deleted the comment, yeah? And the post went on and went on and went on. And I think there was like 150 or 200 shares. I think when I looked at the analytics, there was like 10,000 views or something more. So it's got around the town. Steve Bashforth, has been reported for taking bribes. First of all, denies it. Then he brings up my mate Jack at the Blue Tiffin. Now I didn't even reference the Blue Tiffin, but he wants to reference the Blue Tiffin, right? And he admits to something, yeah.
That was bang out of order. Actually, can I just say something here, Ryan? It's quite important, really. The Blue Tiffin have got nothing to do with this whatsoever.
The Blue Tiffin is the best restaurant in town. It fed children for me for years. Hold on. For years, the Blue Tiffin, of all the projects I've run, every time I wanted money, every time I wanted support, every time I wanted a free meal for 1 kid, 10 kids, 100 kids, the Blue Tiffin delivered every time. Jack and his boys are brilliant. This is not about Jack and his boys. This is about Bashforth.
Yeah, but why did he mention another business here?
He's done it on purpose.
That's unnecessary to put. Exactly.
He's done it on purpose to try and put pressure on me. Yeah, because he knows these are my friends. But let's move on and look at this, right? He's claiming a Blue Tiffin staff member said it was going to be a shame to have to waste all the new barrels he had in stock and said I could take one away. Okay? In the event, I didn't even try to open it, not having any of the necessary bar equipment to do so, so I returned it unopened a few weeks later. So here he is.
Did you not think you had the equipment before you even took it?
A barrel. So he walked out of the restaurant with a barrel of beer, right? Yeah. Right?
You know what you do.
Yeah, because and then afterwards you think, oh bugger, I've not got the means of drinking this, yeah? So I returned it. But you know the problem with lies, Moya. You know the problem with liars, right?
You can't make it up, can you?
Right, but it gets better.
Can you imagine walking out of a restaurant with a barrel? How heavy is a barrel? It's quite heavy. You have to pick it up and walk out with it. Oh,
but it gets better. He wants to know of me why the former head of planning, the councillor in charge of planning, he wants to know why the councillor in charge of planning should not leave a restaurant with a full barrel. And then he says, with an agreement to pay perfectly legal and above board. Now, I don't want to get drawn into licenses yet, but he would not, the restaurant probably doesn't have the license to sell that way. And you know Jack, I know all these guys. Yeah. These guys don't charge for things like that. If they've got things lying around in spare, they'll give you the last, they'll give you their meal, right?
These are really good. These are really good people.
The last time you and I went in there, right, was the day before lockdown. The last day on the Wednesday, yeah. And I remember going back because Jack phoned me up because he wanted to make sure I had some food. Yeah, he wanted to make sure I had some food, right? So no, Steve. These guys, if they gave you a barrel, they would have just given you a barrel, right? They would never have charged you for it. But it gets worse for this nonsense. It gets worse for Steve. I buy items all the time on sale or return. So now he's saying he's bought it on sale or return.
All the time.
Right? Yeah. So he's saying he's bought. And so people understand what sale or return is. Sale or return is when a wholesaler, someone with the right to sell something on, buys something off you. And then if they can't sell it, not if they can't drink it themselves, if they can't sell it, then they're allowed to return it to you. That's what sale or return is.
Roger, just 1 second. I see Paul Boots making a comment. Moy, where would he hide the barrel? Don't ask me. I don't know where he's going to hide it. It's not exactly something you could put under your jumper, is it?
Right. So it gets better for this guy, right? So, I buy items all the time on sale or return, right? If you buy items all the time on sale or return, that makes you a bootlegger. Is that what he's admitting to? Is he admitting to taking alcohol to sell it on to third parties? Is he admitting to being a bootlegger? Is the former chairman of the Oldham Council's planning committee admitting on social media to being a bootlegger? Because that's what it reads to me.
Well, when I think of bootlegging, I'm thinking of early 1900s in the eastern seaboard of America when the mafia were doing a load of bootlegging. So there you go.
Sarah, exactly. It's what I keep saying all along, Sarah. And it's the reason why these guys have not been able to get me. Because I've not been lying. I don't need to have a good memory because the truth comes easily. And it comes consistently. Now, Steve Bashforth, the former head of planning, has admitted that he buys items all the time on sale or return. Now, if you're buying items on sale or return, Moya, as a senior civil servant in that way, what would happen to you?
1 second before the comments go, Raj. Just 1 second. I'll come back to that question. Melanie Sutcliffe, well, whatever his reasons, he should have had the good sense to know this would not look good. And that's exactly the question, Melanie. I think it feeds into the question you had, Raj. Anybody who's in public office, and I've been a councillor, as you all know, for 10 years, or three separate terms, and you would complete you complete a declaration of interest, for hospitality and any gifts in hospitality you actually had, and you do that. And what you'd also would want to do is, being in that position, you'd never want to put yourself in a position where anybody can actually lift a finger at you. It seems to be in this council, under this administration, Labour administration, it's like, do what the hell you want. Nobody cares.
Jason has preempted it. Untouchables. And the problem is untouchables.
Yeah, and it's because they've got so much dirt on each other. None of them are saying anything. So Sean doesn't say anything about somebody else. Steve Bashforth doesn't say anything about Sean. Sean won't say anything about Shah. Shah won't say anything about McMahon. McMahon won't say anything about Rayner. It's like they've all got dirt on each other, and it's so bad. They're all like, "Well, you open your gob, and I'll open mine."
Institutional corruption. That's what that is. Institutional corruption. But it gets worse for this lad, right? You think that's it? No. It gets worse. Here is his declaration of interest. I downloaded it.
Oh, have you got that? Oh, bloody hell!
Of course I have. Absolutely.
Get that as well.
Absolutely nothing. Yeah. Absolutely nothing on his declaration of interest. Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Right, you know, he's got an address,
Brilliant.
a house, yeah, he owns with his partner, yeah.
Yes.
Right, yeah.
It's a
He's the
public
chair and
document.
director of something, right? Here you go, Moyab. Date of receipt of gift or hospitality, yeah?
Oh, there you go. Yep.
Nothing.
Blank. Zilch.
Blank.
Nada.
Do you see that? Unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable. So this bloke walked out with a barrel of beer, he claims on sale or return, and then admits,
Right, Raj, before you go any further, the first thing to ask yourself, I think everybody who's listening to this program and watching, if you go somewhere, forget buy or sell or anything you want to buy, you've got to make sure you've got the means to be able to deliver the goods out of that barrel. So if you're going to buy a barrel of beer, you've got to make sure you've got some sort of mechanism or a pump to get the beer out of. Wouldn't you? Otherwise, you go buy a cans of beer or you buy a bottle.
He's not telling the truth, is he, Moyab? He's not, because it's all unraveling, isn't it? It's all unraveling,
It
isn't
doesn't
it?
make sense. I've never heard of anybody walking into a pub, maybe to the Hare and Hounds or to the Dog and Duck or wherever, and saying, "Oh, to the barman and barmaid, can I have a keg of Cobra, please?" You know, it just doesn't happen. It doesn't happen. I've never heard. If it does, well, I must be in the wrong world.
No, it's nonsense. And you know what the nonsense is here, right? I bought a barrel of beer, right? When he never gave him money, but clearly because it's sale or return. Sale or return means I'm selling it on, otherwise I'm going to return it. He didn't say consume or return, did it? You know, sale or return, right? And
Sale
then,
too.
well, obviously he's selling to third parties and making a price. He's a bootlegger, right? If we are to believe him, he's involved in the illegal sale of alcohol. That's right, isn't it, people? People of Oldham. But I'm not the most cleverest of people out there, and sometimes I'm slow at understanding stuff. But in my simple terms, what he's admitting to is buying alcohol that he planned to sell. Bootlegger. So here we go. This is where it gets worse for him. So
Raj, before we go on to the next bit, I think we should put a call out to all the people on this program saying, tell you what, guys, if anyone's got any money, let's make a movie out of Oldham Council. I'm telling you, it's going to be a super hit. And we'll show it at the Odeon, the one that's nearly closing down in the town centre, because the council spent too much money on it. Well, Jim spent too much money on it. Multi-millions over budget. At least we'll have a movie to show in our town centre.
Let me carry on, right? And then what happens,
Carry on,
right?
Raj.
Right. What happens then, right, is he's posting, right? He's posting about something to do with some bloody building extension, yeah? That Jack's involved in. It's got nothing to do with that. But this is where it gets interesting. At the bottom, he says, because I said Councillor Hewitt, I'd spoken with Councillor Hewitt. He says here at the bottom, yeah? Councillor Steve Hewitt has subsequently written to me confirming he did not report me to Caroline Wilkins, yeah? This is his post, right? And here is Lewis Greenwood, who's head of executive services at the council, another one of those cover-up specialists at Oldham Council. And you can see him. He's emailing Bashforth, Caroline Wilkins, Paul Entwistle, and Fielding. Yeah, all of them, right?
Yeah.
Thank you for your email. I can confirm there is no record held of a complaint received in relation to yourself and a bribe. Hold that email, yeah?
Yeah.
27th of May, Councillor Stephen Hewitt, right? Hiya, Mrs. I blocked out her name. I have had several conversations with several councillors over this. It has been brought to the attention of the leader, who has asked a senior officer to look at the case, and they should be in touch shortly. I am pulling together a report, blah, 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 to see if any wrongdoings have occurred. Councillor Bashforth refutes taking favours for advice. Right? Here we go. Dear Steve. That's the council denying it, yeah? That's Bashforth denying it. Here is an email. Here is an email from Councillor Hewitt. The council are neck deep in the lies. Caroline Wilkins is, because she's copied into this email here, Moyab, and I put it up on the screen now.
Yeah.
Because she's copied into that, as well as Sean Fielding, they are neck deep in the lies. They are neck deep in the lies of corruption at the council. Neck deep in it, because here is Councillor Hewitt, and you can see the, Councillor S. Hewitt. You can't get that off any dodgy email. It's got to be off the official emails. It'll be on their servers. I have had several conversations with several councillors over this, and it has been brought to the attention of the leader, who has asked a senior officer to look at the case, and they should be in touch shortly. Blah blah. I am pulling together a report. Yeah, Mayab, hold on. Hi Val, you can see Councillor Hewitt
I can't
again.
hold on any longer.
Councillor Hewitt again. Yeah. Please see below. This is in regard to Steve BASHFORTH discussing the planning application in Blue Tiffin, which he first denied, then retracted. So here is Steve BASHFORTH caught red-handing because, look at the date, Mayab, 1st of June.
Yep.
And I'm going back to this one. I'm going back to this one here.
This first one.
I have never been accused of taking a bribe.
Deep breaths.
I'm going to put you back on the screen, Mayab, because I think that's hilarious. So, and people of Oldham, people from Oldham, what do you think of that? People of Oldham, what do you think of that?
Absolutely gobsmacked. Hey, Raj, you've pulled it out of the hat today for today's program. I must say, mate, every single one of them. These emails,
institutionally corrupt. Institutionally corrupt.
Well, I'm just thinking, Sean Fielding's today is on a 45-minute trip to Derbyshire.
We'll get to that. Wait for that. We've got that.
Well, I'm just saying, has he taken a keg of Cobra to Derby with him? Do you think it's that same one? You have a little picnic by the side of the lake or something. I wonder if he's taking a hand pump to actually take the beer out.
Marlene, I'm looking at Marlene, who's put a picture up, and she follows me all the time.
Debbie Barrett called Raj and me. I'm calling you.
It's all right. Marlene Williamson, yeah? Marlene, I know English is my second language. And sometimes I'm struggling with, with stuff. But tell me what part of this have I misunderstood? Hello. What part of this have I misunderstood?
Yeah. Jakub joining us.
What part of this have I misunderstood? And let me play this video now, Mayab, just to
You're not going to let me off the hook today, or what? Just like...
Well, you can go if you want. You can go now if you want.
No, I'm just saying. It's like... It's usually never ending.
No, you can go, but here. Ready?
Ready, go on.
Oh, I'm not getting the sound through, am I?
What he's saying, and that's the crux.
Hold on, I'll bring it back.
Councillor BASHFORTH.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I've not prepared a speech, but just listening to Warren going out, you're feeding them. Well, is that saying that we shouldn't speak out because we're frightened of what the online trolls are going to say? That's absolutely what he's saying, isn't it? And that's the crux of the point here, isn't it? There are people out there who are calling such as us undemocratic, corrupt, and yet using corrupt, undemocratic and totally unfounded accusations to stop us exercising our democratic rights. Now, I'm old enough and ugly enough to defend myself, and by Christ, I've done that. By goodness, I've done that many a times. I'm quite happy to take criticism for the way I look, the way I talk, the things I say, the views I hold, my political views, and the way I perform or I don't perform. I have no problem with that. I'll take that every day. But when I see myself and colleagues being accused of being paedophiles,
no one accused them of being paedophiles, remember.
Corrupt action
this is just fake outrage.
Without a shred of evidence.
Without a shred of evidence.
Very difficult to deal with. And,
you walked out with a keg of beer, you fat.
Don't be a councillor then. Well, of course I'm going to be a councillor. And as I said, I'll take all the criticism that's thrown at me for things that I do, don't do, or the views I hold. But I would never dream of accusing somebody of such heinous activities, crimes, without a shred of evidence. And if I was to go online and start calling somebody, a member of the public, things like that, goodness me, I would be dragged before the courts. So I'm not saying defend councillors and stop people slagging us off. I'm not saying that at all. Carry on, do that. But if somebody's got a serious accusation against somebody, then for goodness sake, take it to the authorities. Or come and meet us and challenge us. If somebody thinks that I'm a paedophile because I've been accused it by proxy, by association, even if I haven't in words, many times, I want them people to come get to the police station, tell them what I've done. If somebody thinks I've taken backhanders, go to the police station and tell them what I've done, and I will willingly go to that police station and give myself and say, I haven't, but bloody well prove it.
There you go. Do you see that? Did you see it? Did you watch that, Maya? Yeah, you watched that? Yeah.
Yes, I did.
Go to the police station and prove it. Go to the police station and prove it. Go to the police station and prove. Here we go.
I'll tell you what. I'll go and walk down Higginshaw Lane and see if there's a barrel of Cobra suddenly rolling down the road. You never know. It might be.
He is. Look at this. I'm going to keep putting it back on because I think it's relevant to people. Here is, right? Who's lying? Steve Hewitt has subsequently written to me confirming he did not report me to Carolyn Wilkins. Right? They're in black and white, according to the former head of planning who was caught with a barrel of beer. He gets an email from the council backing him up, and copied in is Dr. Carolyn Wilkins, Paul Entwistle, and Councillor Sean Fielding. You can probably hear my serious voice now because this is now deadly serious. This is now as serious as it gets. Here is the most senior officials in the council, the borough solicitor, the chief executive, and the leader of the council, copied in to this email by Lewis Greenwood, head of executive services, confirming that BASHFORTH was not reported for a bribe. Here is Steve Hewitt's email confirming, claiming otherwise, 27th of May, 1st of June. Who is lying? Who is lying?
Barefaced liars. That's all I can say. Oh.
Yeah?
I don't know.
You do know.
Shocked at today's,
Institutional corruption. Institutional corruption. And it gets worse. You ready for this?
Is there more?
It gets worse.
I've not got no water here to have a sip of water or anything.
I've been drinking coffee and I'm looking around thinking I've got a drink of Vimto or somewhere nearby. So
I didn't think I'd be on for so long. This is turned into a comedy now.
It gets
Hang
worse.
on a minute. I do like watching gold. You know what I mean? Especially the last of the summer wine. But this is just it's taking the biscuit.
It gets worse, and this is where it gets worse, and this is where it gets seedy and worse. One of the people who came forward, one of the victims who came forward, who's been affected by what BASHFORTH did,
right?
Brave Asian lady from Coldust came forward, and you know what happened to her? Phone call almost immediately from an Oldham Cartel councillor in Coldust threatening her.
Yes. Oh, I've heard that as well.
Yeah, and you also told me this, but here...
No. Yeah,
I'm delighted
the
to be
lady
here
told
with
me as well.
Rudy, but listen,
Hold on, and I'm playing the next one. Let me just play the next one because I think, once again, I am going to demonstrate to people of Oldham the cartel links.
Councillor Bashforth.
I'm delighted to be here with Rudy, but listen, this campaign is about people. It's about you and the community. So why not join us on Sunday the 3rd of February at the Westwood East restaurant in Coldust, where we can meet the candidate. I'll be there. There'll be plenty of other volunteers there to make it a really grassroots community campaign. I look forward to seeing you there. I'm delighted to be here with Rudy.
Ruji Sultan, whatever her name is, OBA Cartel General. She might be a woman, former director of the OBA. Right? Yep. Maya,
she's
do you want to do it?
Soldiers.
Yeah.
And Gary Stewart Tarbuck says, is it a Hollywood or a Bollywood movie in the making? This is just. I mean, Ruja Shujan is one of the newest councillors from Coldust. She's steeped in cartel history, a long record of working for the OBA. and
one of the
its,
directors,
sister
one of the
organisations.
directors of the OBA.
Or one of the directors as well. So definitely not going to stand out of line. And and this particular individual has also told me that one of the cartel councillors phoned her and threatened her to not post anything and retract her comments. Otherwise, they may be sued or taken, or something else may be done.
So here is a councillor from Coldust contacting a member of the public to threaten them. You've heard that right, people in Oldham, right? You've heard that right. I'm just putting my camera on my head for a second. So you've heard that right. Here is a councillor in Oldham phoning up and threatening a member of the public because she's whistleblowed on BASHFORTH. And her post was one line. I can confirm Stephen Hewitt contacted me regarding BASHFORTH, or I reported BASHFORTH to Stephen Hewitt. Now, we now know from that email chain that it's correct. So we know she's not lying. And a councillor from this town, within minutes, phoned a member of the public in Coldust and threatened them. Yes.
Shocking.
Yes, Oldham.
Shocking.
This is what we're dealing with. This is BASHFORTH. Now, what would ordinarily happen is BASHFORTH would be immediately suspended. Every land deal he ever sat over would be investigated. Remember, this is the guy who was chairman, whilst the head of planning was, at the time, was Steve Irvine, who was suspended for gross misconduct, and the council to this day refused to clarify why he was suspended for misconduct and why he's left. What dodgy planning decisions have been passed by these guys?
Absolutely shocking.
And more? You ready for more?
Raj, is there more? Do we have a plus one channel for this as well?
What?
It's okay. Do we have a plus one channel for this today?
No, you get off.
I'm sorry, I'm listen to it an hour later. No, it's okay.
I can see, as long as Yakub's all right there.
Yeah, Yakub's okay. It's all right. He just sat on my lap. Wow.
All right, so here's the next bit. BASHFORTH and his mates, Councillor Fielding, all of them, have been quietly PRing and supporting something that I believe the people of Oldham need to know about and should be concerned about. It's this. The Chronicle are promoting it in a positive way, power to the people. What this is, people, is an incinerator. They are building an incinerator in Royton. And not only are they building an incinerator in Royton, this incinerator will take rubbish from across Greater Manchester at the very least and burn it in Royton. They're hiding behind all this nonsense about environmentally friendly and all of that stuff. But 4,600, and that's what they're saying. So I don't believe that figure. I believe the figure to be higher. 4,600 heavy vehicle movements per year into Royton. An incinerator, burning, plastics and all sorts. Green energy, they reckon. It's not green energy at all. You know why it's not green energy? This is the Green Party. I'd like to think the Green Party knows something about green energy. Royton incinerator not as clean and green as it sounds. Released out on the 25th of November. There are plans to build an incinerator for commercial waste. It is called the Energy Recovery Facility. Do you see how they use fancy names? Energy. Who wants an incinerator next to where they live? The Green Party, not me, the Green Party, poses dangers to residents in surrounding areas and contributes to climate change. That's right. An incinerator is on the verge of being approved in Royton, and not one of these councillors have spoken out against it. An incinerator, but they don't call it an incinerator. What do you make of that, Maya? Would you, I'm...
Do not fear them.
Sorry, I'm just looking at you, next to your son, so I'll keep you off the camera. But what do you make of that? What do you know? Would you've got a young kid next to you, right? Your son's there. An incinerator is being built.
What I would say, Roger, can you hear me?
Yeah.
I thought it was echoing my notes. Back in 2000, when I first got elected on the council for Cllr ward, and we were fighting right across this borough against toxic tipping in the Beale Valley. The Labour administration at the time wanted to put toxic waste into the Beale Valley in Royton, which affects basically the whole of Oldham, with that patch between Cllr, Royton, Shaw. If you know where the tram goes through there, toxic tipping. It seems to be a common theme for Labour. They say one thing and then they do another. Incinerator in Royton, of all places. Really? And what do the people of Oldham think?
The plans are about to be passed. They've PR'd it. They've PR'd it. Do you see how they've PR'd it? Everything in the Cron, everyone has been positively talking. They've not. They've strategically avoided using the term incinerator.
Is this what the people of Royton really want? I'm pretty sure they don't.
Can you imagine if you had a school, children? Oh, come on. And they're comparing it to something that's going on in Scandinavia, and the Scandinavian countries have already admitted that they need to reduce these facilities because of the climate change and of the pollutants in the air. So they've already done it, and they're already scaling back, saying no, these aren't the right way.
I think one thing that stands out, Raj, from today's show is whether we're talking about the incinerator and green policies, whether we're talking barrels of beer, whether we're talking about some of the other subjects that we've talked about in terms of flying over to the Middle East and various other bits. The strap line for this council, for Sean Fielding's council, is open and transparent. From what we have seen today and heard today, it's anything but open and transparent.
People of Royton will have a choice. 2 councillors are up in, one's up in Royton South, one's up in Royton North. I don't know who they are, but these councillors, none of the sitting councillors in Royton have objected to an incinerator being built amongst, in their community of Royton, have they? It's just
because all the councillors in Royton are all Labour councillors, and clearly everybody is towing the party line. And what people should understand about Oldham is that it is controlled by very few people. Jim McMahon controls Oldham Council. You ask any public servant in Oldham who runs Oldham Council. It's not Sean Fielding, it's Jim McMahon, and Sean Fielding is simply a proxy.
Gary Daly has just claimed you're not as ruthless as me. People don't know you because you're actually more ruthless than I am. I'm the one who's if people know of and my friends and our friends will tell you I'm actually the one who's the pushover, and these are the guys that protect me. I'm the one that's the pushover. So so that's where we're at. Look, my thing with this, my thing with the incinerator is this, right? That incinerator isn't for Oldham. It's for Greater Manchester. So we are now, because Sean Fielding sold us out to Burnham, with a dumping ground for Greater Manchester. Oldham is where Greater Manchester dumps its rubbish.
Yes. All the rubbish from around Greater Manchester comes into Royton and is dumped on our doorstep. That's what it is. And we're
also the town for cheap labour that is exported from Oldham for all the cheap labour places across Greater Manchester. This is what the Greater Manchester structural framework is. This is what these people have done. They have made us into the dustbin of Greater Manchester. Our town is to take all the rubbish and burn it and bury it, and our town is to provide all the cheap labour. This is what Sean Fielding and his Labour Party have done in exchange for strategic positions and career opportunities in Andy Burnham's Greater Manchester team. A team that he has already, his girlfriend had already managed to get a job in.
Yeah. I mean, it's like these people won't stop at anything. These people won't stop at anything. It's just unbelievable what they will do just to further there, careers up the greasy pole of the Labour administration here in Oldham.
Hang out with gangsters in Dubai, sell our land in our own town, ignore the future of our children, put an incinerator there that can be burnt, rubbish from across Greater Manchester. This is just disgraceful. I know Debbie's been trying to get on, but she's gone off now, Moya, but I didn't want to speak to her whilst I was in the flow of something. I think people, you know, this isn't easy. I have got a flow going, believe it or not. I've got notes written down, and I'm trying to take a story somewhere. So Debbie coming on would have thrown me, but you're more than welcome to come on now if you want, Debbie, and I'll get you on. So if you press the link that you've got, and I'll put you on the screen, and you can have your 2 penneth, Deb. That's that. So let's bring up the next bit, Moya. This is the bit you've been wanting to get on right from the beginning. Right from the beginning, you've been wanting to get onto this. I will.
And there's more.
I'll put it on. Ready? So this Muppet, right? The leader of the council, the town, is number 1 in the COVID charts, yeah? Shamefully top of the COVID charts across the country. Highest tier, highest rates. He knows what the rules are. He goes for a walk in Derbyshire with his girlfriend and then puts it up on Twitter. He claims that because of the number of cars in Daisy Nook, he kind of suggests that, you know, this was a more secure goal. So driving all the way to Derbyshire against the law, against the rules, he reckons was safer than going to Daisy Nook because the car park was full. Those of you who know Sean Fielding will confirm he lives a 10-minute stroll from Daisy Nook. Those of you who don't know Daisy Nook, this is Daisy Nook. I'll just put Debbie in the waiting room for a minute. This is Daisy Nook. He claims he can travel for exercise. So he's bypassed that 10 minutes from his house. The rules are very specific. To spend time or exercise outdoors, this should be done locally wherever possible. But you can travel to do so if necessary. For example, to access an open space 10 minutes away from his house. He has travelled 45 minutes in a car. Because he said so. And then he's come up with this nonsense 45-minute rule that I can't find anywhere. But even then, from his house, if you're speeding in non-stop traffic, it's more than 45 minutes. And people are rightfully criticising him. He should be fined. He should be fined. Let me bring Debbie Cole up. I've got you, Vermoy, up, and I'm going to put Debbie to the right. So there's you and Debbie on there now.
From his house.
No, Debbie.
Hi, everybody.
If you're speeding and non-stop traffic.
Debbie, you've got to turn off whatever you've got on, otherwise it won't work.
Yeah, I know what it is. Right, can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Right, first of all, I just wanted to jump on really about the blue tiffin. When I had cancer treatment 5 years ago, after I finished my cancer treatment, I actually did culture crawl with the Maggies. And part of the country crawl was that we went to the blue tiffin. And all the staff there, they put on a lovely meal for everybody that did the culture crawl for free. They didn't charge anybody a penny. We all had a lovely meal.
It's unfair they've been put in this position, Debbie. It's unfair.
Jack was absolutely amazing in the blue tiffin. And what's going on with Steve BASHFORTH in that blue tiffin? He's using his power to do what he's doing. But it doesn't reflect on the blue tiffin at all. And I wanted to jump on and tell you that.
Okay, brilliant. Thanks. What do you make of this numpty going 45 minutes? Because I saw you post it as well earlier.
Oh, he's got right up my goat. He literally lives 10-minute walk. Well, for him, a young lad, it's a 5-minute walk, actually. From his house, from his street to Daisy Nook Country Park. And it's beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful. Now, as far as I'm concerned, there's people up and down this country, especially us in lockdown, that we're not allowed to we've got to go out. It's essential travel only. So you've got essential travel, right? And then when you're going out for exercise, it's gone back to like it were before, and it's an hour's exercise. Now, Sean Fielding has not only not, he's travelled and it weren't essential, and his girlfriend, the 27-year-old person that was in, harassed. So him and his partner, they've driven 45 minutes. Actually, it's longer than that to get to Derbyshire, where he got to. It takes an hour and a half. So he's driven there, or he's been speeding, one of the two. So they've driven an hour and a half. They've then walked round for 3 hours because he's admitted saying, well, he didn't see nobody for 3 hours. I wonder how the people of Derbyshire would feel that he's gone, right, from a high-risk COVID area, not just for the 1 hour for the exercise, no, for 3 hours exercise he's gone, right, and he thinks he's quite proud of himself that he didn't see anybody for 3 hours.
He's a scumbag. You know why he's a scumbag? Because so many of us are not seeing our loved ones. We're following the rules. We're doing all. I mean, my sister's tuning into this. I've not seen my older sisters for months. They live up in Bridlington.
Sisters.
I would never think of getting in the car during, we're in tier 3 at high risk and driving up to Bridlington to go for a walk on the beach, with one of my sisters. I would never think of doing that. And this,
one of my favourite places to go walking, Roger, is around Duststones, and I've not even done that during lockdown.
No, this man is out of order. So what you've got here is, this is what I mean, Moyab, right? It's the criminality at the highest level means that the culture is we can do whatever we want.
Yeah. The problem is, Raj. The problem is when Angela Rayner and Sean Fielding were reported to the police for their litter pick,
and Peter Davis,
and Peter Davis as well for their litter pick. Nothing was done at the time, and the police's view, from what I can gather, was that even if the police did do anything at the time, they probably just get a little warning or a little telling off. But because nothing was done then, it now seems to be a free for all. It can do whatever he wants, and it's one after the other. And now he's gone to Derbyshire. The next time, God knows, he'll go somewhere else. But somebody flies over to Dubai. It's like, but this Labour administration, it seems to be hell bent on breaking all those COVID rules. I just hope, Raja, from what you've said before, I'm trying to decipher things in my mind, that the council's COVID queen isn't the person that's been flying over to the Middle East for certain partying during lockdown, because then that really would be a story.
Well, she's not even been in Oldham. Where is she? Have we had any statements from her? Have we had anything at all from Aroof Shah while she was nominated the COVID Queen? Have we had any statements? I saw her on TV once, and that was before that's when they were saying nothing to see here, everything's okay.
Debbie, let's just remind the people, for the benefit of the people of this borough, how serious or lack of this Labour administration has taken their response to COVID. We've had Sky News coming into Royton, that place in the borough where there are high numbers of people who've got COVID. Oh, and I'll tell you what, we'll bring an international reporting team from Al Jazeera, and we'll take them somewhere else. We'll take them to Failsworth. This has been their response. We'll tell you what. Well, we'll go out doing litter picking. We'll go out flying from one country to another. We'll go this. You guys all stay home and do as you're told. But we'll do whatever we want because we're in charge.
Well, Sean Fielding
we're the ones who make the rules.
Sean Fielding had a lovely comment today about on Twitter about he was having a go at the Conservatives and the Failsworth Independents giving out flyers, and he was very interested. Are they doing it in pairs? Because they're not supposed to do it in pairs. But it was all right because Sean Fielding and all his crew, they were doing door-to-door knocking not so long ago, were they not? In Failsworth. And in Alexandra Park, near Alexandra Park, Bloddick. They were knocking on doors in groups there, but it's all right. And that was a bit of canvassing as well, was it not?
And let's not forget the deputy leader of Oldham Council, Councillor Abdul Jabbar, was reported by one of his constituents to the Labour Party, who Sean Fielding knows about, Jim McMahon knows about.
Covered
They
up.
didn't do
Covered
anything.
up.
They covered it up. They covered it up because if they did anything with Councillor Abdul Jabbar, the deputy leader of Oldham Council, then they would have to do something to the leader of Oldham Council, Sean Fielding, and Angela Rayner MP, along with the other councillor.
And that's
from
what I
Failsworth
mean.
that turned up.
And that's what I mean. Debbie, anything else you want to say whilst I've got you on?
You're not going to have an independent investigation over children that are being groomed and raped and everything that goes with that. They're not going to investigate their own, are they? They're not.
Debbie, thank you.
We know that. You know that. They're not. They're not going to do it. They're not going to investigate it. So Council Jabbar, there's photographic evidence of him breaking the rules during COVID, but you crack on, Council Jabbar. Now we've got a root shard having it like the gangsters in Dubai. Cracking on.
Debbie, just have a look through your curtains outside the window. Just see if there's a barrel of Cobra rolling down your street.
No, I'm going delivering it to Steve Bashforth. I've already picked it up. It was out road. I picked it up. I'm going.
Is it on sale or return? Is it on sale?
Yeah, it's on sale or return. So I'm returning it back to Bashforth. You know the one that said that it's never been reported, but yet we've all got the evidence.
He's a liar, isn't he? I mean, what else is that? Who's lying?
I'll tell you what he is, Roger. I'll tell you what he is, Moab. Are you ready? He's a bare-faced liar.
Debbie, thank you. Good night. That was Debbie Meyer, right? Well, I'm done with you. I'm going to wrap up and then, yeah.
Fantastic.
Thanks
Thanks for having me on, Raj. And,
no, anytime. Anytime.
All I would say is, of all the people you've had on your shows, you've thrown more grenades at me in one night than you have in the whole year.
I thought you'd enjoy it, Moab. I mean, but you've been wanting to come on, and you haven't been able to for serious matters because you've been investigating and all this stuff because of Fielding's nonsense. Yeah. And I made you a nice little title, Moab. I'll put it back up, and because I liked it so much. Hold on, I'm going to put up your title so you can see your title on your thing, because I made a nice little title for you. I was going to put weatherman, but I put political analyst up, right? You
could have called me like the Udden, the chair of the Udden Meteorological Society or something.
Yeah, I know everyone looks out for your weather reports, Moab. Okay, thanks, Moab. I'll speak to you soon. Right.
Brilliant. Thanks a lot, guys. Thanks for listening. Thanks. Bye.
So there you have it. It's that's me. That's me kind of done for the day. I'll listen to some comments and questions, and I'll try and answer what I can. I'll put posts up, so just give it a few seconds whilst this loads up. But honestly, yeah, one revelation after another. I think the incinerator is unbelievable, that these people are quietly trying to put an incinerator into this town on the Snide, so it can be the dumping ground for Greater Manchester. I think the fact that Sean Fielding is being investigated by the police now. You've seen what Jim McMahon's done and he's failed to do. And you've also got BASHFORTH. And all the others in the council caught out lying, aren't they? There's a crime there. At best, BASHFORTH is a bootlegger. Nah. And do you know what? The last thing I'll leave you with, what I also got told today, that in the middle of all of this, the chief executive of this town, this woman, who's now the track and trace sort of replacement at the government, at the LGC, but apparently she's working in Oldham at the same time. Guess what? We pay her, she costs us the best part of £250,000 a year. That's over £20,000 a month. Senior figures in the council who I speak to are telling me they can't remember the last time they saw her. And it goes that she, at best, is working 1 day a week. That's right. When the town needs its leaders the most, the chief executive of our town is not here. What? He's here maybe a day a week. £250,000, ladies and gentlemen. What do you make of this? Institutionally corrupt. There's no other words for this town. Oldham is institutionally corrupt. The government needs to intervene in this town. It is run by the cartels, and they are in bed with corrupt politicians and officers of the council, from the lowest level to the highest level, all the way into Parliament. This town is rotten.
Do not fear them. Do not fear any of them.